Lieutenant Park So-young rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the screen again. She had been working at Luna Station for 3 years now, listening to radio signals from deep space. Most of the time, she heard nothing but static and the normal chatter from human colonies. But tonight was different. The signal came in weak and broken. At first, she thought it was just space noise, but there was something about the pattern that made her pay attention. It repeated every few minutes, always. The same strange sounds mixed with what might be words. So-young called her supervisor. "Commander Lee, I think you should hear this." Commander Lee Taemin walked over to her station. He was a tall man with gray hair who had been running the communications center for 10 years. He put on the headphones and listened. "That's not human," he said after a minute. "Run it through the translation computer." So-young typed commands into her computer. The machine tried to find patterns in the sounds. After an hour, it found something. The signal contained pieces of 17 different alien languages. All of them were saying the same thing, but the computer could not translate the words yet. "Keep working on it," Lee told her. "I'll call Dr. Choi from the Alien Studies Department." Dr. Choi Minho arrived 2 hours later with a bag full of data chips. He was young for a doctor, only 35, but he knew more about alien languages than anyone else on Luna Station. "Play it again," he said, sitting down at the computer. The strange sounds filled the room. Choi listened carefully, making notes on his tablet. He fed data from 12 different alien dictionaries into the computer. Slowly, words began to appear on the screen. "Help us," the computer translated. "The Devourers come. We are dying." Choi's face went pale. "Commander, this is not just one species calling for help. This message comes from at least 15 different alien races. They're all saying the same thing." So-young worked through the night with Choi and 2 other language experts. They fed more data into the computer and slowly built a better translation. By morning, they had decoded most of the message. The translation made everyone in the room feel cold. "To the legendary Deathworlders of Terra," the message began. "We, the gentle alliance of 17 worlds, send this final plea. The Devourers have come to our space. They consume everything living. They turn our beautiful worlds into dead rocks." The message continued with coordinates to star systems far from human space. It described terrible battles where entire planets were stripped of all life in just days. The aliens begged for help from the warriors of the Death World because they had heard stories about human military power. "They think we're monsters," So-young said quietly. "No," Choi corrected her. "They think we're their only hope." "Commander." Lee called Admiral Kim Yun-woo at Earth Command. The Admiral was the head of all human military forces. He was a serious man who had fought in 3 different wars to protect human colonies. "Sir, we have a situation," Lee said over the video call. "We've received a distress signal from alien civilizations under attack." Admiral Kim listened to the translated message. His face showed no emotion, but his hands tightened into fists. "How long ago was this sent?" he asked. "The signal took about 6 months to reach us," Choi answered. "These star systems are very far away." "Then we might already be too late." The Admiral was quiet for a moment. "Send me everything you have. I'm calling an emergency meeting of the High Command." 3 hours later, the most important military leaders in human space gathered in a secure room on Earth. Admiral Kim played the alien message for them. The room was silent when it finished. "What do we know about these aliens?" asked General Park Jin-woo, head of the Marine Corps. Dr. Choi had prepared files on the Gentle Alliance. "We met some of them 15 years ago during our first deep space explorations. They're peaceful species, mostly plant eaters and traders. They live on worlds with light gravity and warm climates. Their technology is advanced, but they have almost no weapons." "And the Devourers?" Admiral Kim asked. "Unknown. The Alliance calls them the hunger that walks between stars." From the message, they seem to be some kind of hive mind that consumes organic matter to reproduce. Captain Yoon Ji-hai, commander of humanity's newest warship, spoke up. Sir, if these aliens are calling us Deathworlders, they must be desperate. They're afraid of us, but they're asking for our help anyway. Admiral Kim nodded. Earth is what? They call a death world. High gravity, dangerous weather, poisonous atmosphere in some places, and full of predators. Most aliens think we're crazy for living here. But that's exactly why we might be able to help them, said Major Kang Dong-soo from Special Forces. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. These peaceful aliens never had to fight for survival like we did. The Admiral stood up and walked to the large screen showing a map of known space. The coordinates from the alien message showed star systems at the very edge of explored territory. The question is simple, he said. Do we have the right to ignore genocide just because it's happening far away? Sir, Captain Yoon said, if we don't help them, who will? The message says they've already lost 12 worlds. How many more will die while we debate? But we're talking about sending our entire fleet into unknown space, General Park pointed out. We don't know anything about this enemy. We could be flying into a trap. Dr. Choi pulled up data on his tablet. The Alliance species have been trading with other aliens for centuries. They have detailed star maps and biological data on hundreds of species. If they say the Devourers are unlike anything they've seen before, we should believe them. Admiral Kim looked at each person in the room. These were the people who had defended humanity against pirate attacks, alien raids, and civil wars. They had never backed down from a fight when innocent lives were at stake. The aliens call us Deathworlders because they think we're dangerous, the Admiral said slowly. Maybe it's time we showed them that being dangerous isn't always a bad thing. He turned to his staff officers. I want mobilization plans for all 3 fleets. Maximum firepower, long-range operation. We'll need supply ships, medical vessels, and refugee transport. Sir, Captain Yoon asked, what's our mission objective? Admiral Kim looked at the star map again. Somewhere out there, entire civilizations were dying while waiting for help that might never come. Our mission is to stop a genocide, he said. Whatever the cost. The room erupted into activity. Officers called their ships, generals contacted their bases, and Dr. Choi began preparing detailed files on Alliance biology and culture. Lieutenant Park So-young watched from her station on Luna as Earth's greatest military force began to move. The aliens had called humans Deathworlders, thinking they were asking monsters for help. They had no idea that sometimes monsters were exactly what the galaxy needed. The war fleet of Earth was going to answer their call. The emergency meeting room at Earth Command buzzed with activity. Admiral Kim Hyun-woo sat at the head of a long table surrounded by humanity's top military leaders. Large screens showed star maps, ship positions, and decoded alien messages. Captain Yoon Ji-hee arrived first. She commanded the TDS Retribution, the most powerful warship humans had ever built. The ship was as long as 3 city blocks and carried enough firepower to level a small moon. Yoon was known for her calm thinking, in battle, and her crew's complete loyalty. Major Kang Dong-soo came next. He led the Terran Special Forces, soldiers trained for the most dangerous missions. His teams could survive on alien worlds, fight in zero gravity, and complete impossible objectives. If the regular military was a hammer, Kang's forces were a scalpel. Engineer Nam Soo-jin wheeled in a cart full of technical equipment. She designed the weapons that protected human space. Her latest creations included plasma cannons that could cut through asteroid-sized targets and kinetic missiles that traveled at nearly light speed. Dr. Choi Min-ho spread alien cultural files across the table. He had spent the last 6 hours learning everything possible about the Gentle Alliance. The information painted a picture of civilizations unlike anything humans had encountered. The last to arrive was diplomat Oh Sung-ho. He had negotiated treaties. with 7 different alien species and spoke 12 non-human languages. His job was to prevent wars, but today he was here to help plan one. Admiral Kim called for attention. "We have less than 48 hours to decide if we're going to war. Dr. Choi, tell us about these aliens who are asking for our help." Dr. Choi activated a holographic display. Images of various alien species appeared above the table. The Gentle. Alliance consists of 17 different civilizations. Most evolved from plant-eating animals or are plant-based life forms themselves. They've never fought a major war. The first image showed tall, tree-like beings with silver bark and glowing leaves. These are the Silrani. They photosynthesize like plants and live for over 1,000 years. Their technology focuses on growing buildings and ships instead of building them. Next came dolphin-like creatures with 6 limbs and soft, blue skin. The Aquari live in ocean worlds. They're incredible mathematicians and engineers, but they've never developed weapons more dangerous than fishing tools. All Alliance species share similar traits, Dr. Choi continued. They're peaceful, highly intelligent, and completely unprepared for war. Their home worlds have light gravity, stable weather, and no large predators. They literally don't understand the concept of killing for survival. Major Kang studied the images. No wonder they call us Deathworlders. Earth would be hell for any of these species. That's exactly the point, Dr. Choi said. To them, Earth is an impossible world. High gravity that would crush their bones, weather that changes without warning, carnivorous animals everywhere, and an atmosphere that's poisonous to half of them. They can't understand how we not only survive here, but thrive. Engineer Nam pulled up technical data. I've analyzed their ship designs from trade records. They're beautiful, efficient, and completely defenseless. No armor, no weapons, no shields. Their hulls are made from grown biomaterials that are lighter than aluminum. What about their industrial capacity? Admiral Kim asked. Impressive for peaceful purposes, Nam replied. They can build anything they need, cities, ships, space stations. But they've never mass-produced weapons or military equipment. They don't even have the factories for it, Diplomat. O opened his tablet. I've been in contact with Alliance trade representatives. They confirmed that the attacks began 8 months ago in the outer systems. The Devourers appeared without warning and completely destroyed the first 3 worlds they encountered. What do we know about these Devourers? Captain Yoon asked. Dr. Choi's expression grew dark. Almost nothing. The Alliance describes them as the hunger that devours light itself. They arrive in biomechanical ships that look more grown than built. They don't communicate, negotiate, or take prisoners. They simply consume everything organic and move on. Consumption rate? Major Kang wanted tactical information. A typical garden world with 2 billion inhabitants is stripped completely bare. In 72 hours, Dr. Choi read from the alien reports, the Devourers somehow convert organic matter directly into more of their own kind. Every person they consume makes them stronger. The room fell silent. Everyone understood the implications. This wasn't just war. It was an extinction event happening in slow motion. Admiral Kim stood and walked to the star map. Show me their current positions. Red markers appeared on the display, showing Devourer attacks. Yellow markers showed Alliance. Worlds under siege. Green markers showed the few remaining safe systems. They're moving in a clear pattern, Captain Yoon observed. Hitting the outer worlds first, then moving toward the core systems. Classic military strategy, Major Kang agreed. Destroy the enemy's support base before attacking their stronghold. Engineer Nam highlighted supply routes on the map. If they take these 3 systems, they'll cut off the Alliance's main trade routes. The remaining worlds won't be able to coordinate their defense. What defense? Diplomat O asked bitterly. The Alliance has cargo ships and research vessels. Their idea of conflict resolution is a poetry contest. Admiral Kim traced the Devourer advance with his finger. At their current rate, they'll reach the Alliance capital world in 6 months. How long would it take our fleets to get there? Nam consulted her calculations. 4 months at maximum speed, assuming we launch within the week. That gives us a 2-month window to stop them before they finish the job, the Admiral concluded. Captain Yoon leaned forward. Sir, we're talking about deploying our entire Space Force to the other side of known space. If this is a trap, or if other enemies attack while we're gone, Earth would be defenseless. I've considered that, Admiral Kim replied. But look at this from another angle. If the Devourers finish consuming the Alliance, what happens next? Do they stop? Do they go home? Or do they keep moving and eventually reach human space? Major Kang nodded slowly. Better to fight them now while we have allies, even weak ones, than face them alone later when they're stronger. Dr. Choi pulled up biological data. There's something else. The Alliance message specifically mentions the legendary Deathworlders. They've heard stories about us through the Galactic Trade Network. To them, we're either myths or monsters. What kind of stories? Diplomat O asked. Tales about humans fighting impossible battles and winning. About soldiers who keep fighting even when badly wounded. About civilians who would rather die than surrender their homes. Dr. Choi paused. They think we're insane. Are they wrong? Engineer Nam asked with a slight smile. From their perspective? Absolutely not, Dr. Choi continued. A Silrani would find our concept of acceptable losses completely incomprehensible. The idea of sacrificing some to save many goes against everything they believe. Admiral Kim returned to his seat. Which brings us to the real question. We could probably defeat the Devourers. Our technology is built for war. Theirs is built for consumption. But are we prepared for what comes after? What do you mean, sir? Captain Yoon asked. The Alliance species will see us fight. They'll watch us kill efficiently and without hesitation. They'll see human soldiers do things that their peaceful minds can't process. After we save them, will they still want our help? Diplomat. Oh, considered this. Sir, they're facing extinction. I think they'll accept our methods if it means survival. But what about the rest of the galaxy? The Admiral pressed. Once word spreads that humans fought and won a major war, how will other species react? Will they see us as heroes, or as the dangerous Deathworlders they always feared? Major Kang straightened in his chair. With respect, sir, that's a problem. For tomorrow. Today, innocent people are dying while we debate politics. The Major's right, Engineer Nam added. We can worry about our reputation after we make sure there's still a galaxy to have a reputation in. Admiral Kim looked around. The table at faces he had known for years. These people had fought beside him through humanity's worst conflicts. They had never let politics stop them from doing what was right. Very well. We go to war. His voice was calm but firm. Full mobilization of all 3 fleets. Captain Yoon, you'll command the Fast Attack Division. Major Kang, I want your special forces ready for boarding actions and planetary operations. Engineer Nam, retrofit our ships with the heaviest weapons we have. What about the diplomatic situation? O asked. Send a message to the Alliance worlds. Tell them the Deathworlders are coming. Admiral Kim smiled grimly. And tell them to get out of our way. The mobilization began at dawn. Across human space, military bases came alive with activity that hadn't been seen since the colonial wars 30 years ago. Admiral Kim Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of his flagship, the TDS Terra's Wrath, watching, as the greatest war fleet in human history assembled. Fleet Admiral Shin Jae-won commanded the second fleet from the bridge of TDS Vengeance. He was older than Kim, with silver hair and scars from the pirate wars. His ships specialized in long-range bombardment and siege warfare. Shin's fleet could reduce an entire planet to rubble from orbit. But today, their mission was to save planets, not destroy them. Colonel Bae In-soo paced the deck of the Marine transport ship Thunderbolt. His assault regiment was the best-trained ground force humanity had ever produced. The Marines could fight in any environment, Vacuum, underwater, high gravity, toxic atmosphere. They had trained for every possible combat scenario except fighting, to save alien civilizations. Dr. Han Yuri checked her medical supplies one more time. As the head of battlefield medicine, she would be responsible for treating both human casualties and alien refugees. Her medical bay was stocked with supplies for 17 different alien biologies, though she hoped she wouldn't need to use most of them. Pilot Lee Gun-woo ran through final checks on his Viper-class fighter. He commanded Red Squadron 12, of the fastest and deadliest single-pilot ships in the fleet. His pilots were young, aggressive, and completely fearless. They would be the first to engage the enemy in every battle. Engineer Nam Soo-jin worked without sleep, overseeing the retrofit. Of over 200 warships, her teams installed new weapon systems, upgraded armor plating, and modified engines for extended deep space operations. The ships leaving Earth would be the most heavily armed vessels ever built by human hands. Status report, Admiral Kim called. Out on the fleet communication channel. First fleet ready for departure, came the response from his own ship commanders. 67 vessels, full crew, maximum armament. Second fleet standing by, Admiral Shin reported. 43 heavy ships, siege equipment loaded, long-range supply train attached. Third fleet ready to move. Captain Yoon Ji-hai's voice was calm and confident. 38 fast attack ships, all fighters fueled and armed. Admiral Kim looked at the tactical display. 148 warships, carrying the combined firepower of humanity's entire military force. It was more than enough to conquer most star systems, but they were heading into the unknown to fight an enemy that had already destroyed civilizations. New intelligence coming in from Luna Station, reported Communications Officer Park Tae-young. Lieutenant Park So-young had continued monitoring alien transmissions, and the news was getting worse. 3 more Alliance worlds have gone silent in the last 48 hours, Park read from the decoded messages. The Devourers are accelerating their attack schedule. The remaining Alliance fleet is falling back to their final stronghold in the Kepler 442 system. Dr. Choi's voice came over the intercom from the intelligence section. Admiral, we've received detailed biological data from Alliance survivors. The Devourers reproduce by converting organic matter into more soldiers. Every person they consume makes their army larger. How much larger? Admiral Kim asked. Unknown, but Alliance estimates suggest they've gained millions of new units from each world they've consumed. The bridge fell silent. Everyone did the math, in their heads. 12 worlds already consumed, billions of beings converted into enemy soldiers. The Devourers they would face might outnumber humanity 1,000 to 1. Sir? Captain Yoon's voice came through clearly. Does this change our mission? Admiral Kim thought for a moment. The smart military decision would be to turn around and prepare Earth's defenses. But he remembered the desperate message from the aliens, their plea to the legendary Deathworlders for help. No change. We proceed as planned. In the medical bay, Dr. Han Yu-ri briefed her staff on Alliance physiology. The Silrani breathe a nitrogen-methane mix and need constant moisture to survive. Their wounds heal differently than ours. They grow new tissue instead of forming scars. What about the Aquari? Asked Medic Sergeant Park Tae-young. They need to be kept in salt water. Their blood is copper-based, so it's blue-green instead of red. And they feel pain very differently than humans. What seems like a minor injury to us could send them into shock. Dr. Han pulled up medical diagrams. The important thing to remember is that these species have never experienced war. They've never seen violence on the scale we consider normal. A human soldier with a broken arm would keep fighting. Any of these aliens would probably die from trauma shock. Meanwhile, in the Marine training deck, Colonel Bae In-soo drilled his troops on fighting an unknown enemy. Forget everything you know about conventional warfare, he told his assembled Marines. The Devourers don't take cover, they don't retreat, and they don't surrender. They just keep coming until they're all dead, or you are. Sergeant Kim Da-sam raised her hand. Sir, what if we can't stop them in space? What if they reach a planet's surface? Then we follow them down and fight them in the dirt, Bay replied. But remember, our job isn't just to kill the enemy. We have to protect alien civilians who have never seen combat. They'll be terrified of us almost as much as they are of the Devourers. Why? Asked Corporal Kim Mino. Because to them we're monsters, Bay explained. We come from a world that would kill them in minutes. We carry weapons they can't even understand. We think about violence in ways their minds can't process. He paused. But we're their monsters, and sometimes monsters are exactly what you need. Engineer Nam's teams worked around the clock, installing new weapon systems. The standard human arsenal was already more advanced than anything the Alliance possessed, but Nam wanted every possible advantage. Install the new plasma cannons on all heavy cruisers, she ordered. Maximum power settings. If these bioships are grown instead of built, intense heat should be more effective than kinetic weapons. What about the nuclear missiles? Asked her assistant, Engineer Choi Wo-jin. Double the normal load, and install the new fusion warheads. Nam checked her tablet. The Alliance worlds have no radiation-based life, so we don't need to worry about fallout contamination. Captain Najun Seo supervised the loading of heavy weapons onto the marine transports. His specialty was orbital bombardment, using ship-based weapons to support ground troops. Pack extra ammunition for the railguns, he told his crew, and load all the experimental weapons too. Even the gravity bombs? Asked his weapons officer. Especially the gravity bombs. If the Devourers really are a hive mind, disrupting their neural connections might be our best weapon. As the fleets prepared for departure, one final message arrived from the Alliance worlds. Lieutenant Park So-young decoded it personally and sent it directly to Admiral Kim. To the warriors of Terra, the message began. We do not know if you will receive this plea, or if you would answer if you did. We are the last survivors of the Gentle Alliance. The Devourers have taken everything from us except hope. The message continued with coordinates for the final Alliance stronghold and detailed intelligence about Devourer forces. But the ending made everyone who read it stop and think. We know what you are. We know the stories about your kind, the Deathworlders, who kill without hesitation, who fight impossible battles, who would rather die than surrender. We are terrified of you, but we are more terrified of extinction. If you come to save us, we will try to understand. If you do not come, we will die, knowing we asked monsters to fight monsters on our behalf. Admiral Kim read the message 3 times before speaking to his fleet commanders. They're afraid of us, he said simply. These aliens are asking for help from people they think are barely better than the enemy. Maybe they're right. Major Kang's voice came over the communication channel. Maybe we are monsters compared to them. Then we'll be their monsters, Admiral Kim replied. All ships, prepare for jump to light speed. Target coordinates, Kepler 442 system. Time to destination, 4 months. The greatest war fleet in human history disappeared into hyperspace, leaving Earth's solar system for the first time in a generation. Behind them, they left families, homes, and the safety of known space. Ahead lay an enemy that had already consumed civilizations and aliens who feared their rescuers almost as much as their destroyers. Lieutenant Park So-young watched the ships disappear on her monitors at Luna Station. The aliens had called for Deathworlders, and humanity had answered. Now everyone would learn what that really meant. 4 months of travel through the void of space brought the human fleet to the edge of Alliance territory. What they found there made even seasoned military veterans pause in shock. Captain Cho Woo-jin stood on the bridge of his reconnaissance ship, the TDS Observer, studying the dead system before them. Where Alliance charts showed a thriving world with 3 billion inhabitants, his sensors detected only a barren rock orbiting a dimming star. Sir, his sensor operator reported. I'm reading massive crystalline formations across the planet's surface. No organic matter detected. What about radiation? Cho asked. None. Whatever happened here, it wasn't nuclear weapons. The operator checked his instruments again. Sir, the entire planet's surface has been changed. The continents are still the same shape, but they're made of some kind of crystal now. Lieutenant Ryu Hee-jin piloted her fighter through the system's outer edge, taking detailed scans. Her squadron had been the first to arrive, scouting ahead of the main fleet. What they found defied explanation. Fleet Command, this is Red Leader, she reported. I'm seeing debris fields that used to be cities. The metal is still there, but everything organic is gone. Even the wood in buildings has been stripped away. Admiral Kim's voice came back immediately. What about the population? No bodies, sir. No skeletons, no graves, nothing. It's like every living thing just disappeared. The main fleet arrived to find a graveyard of worlds. System after system showed the same pattern: crystallized planets, metal debris, and no trace of organic life. The Devourers had been methodical and thorough. How many systems like this? Admiral Shin asked during the fleet commander's conference. 12 confirmed dead worlds, Captain Cho reported. 3 more showing signs of recent attack. And we're detecting massive energy signatures moving toward the Kepler 442 system, the final Alliance stronghold, Admiral Kim concluded. How long until the Devourers reach them? At current speed, less than 1 week. Dr. Han Yuri had set up medical stations on 3 different ships, preparing for massive refugee operations. But the scale of what they were seeing overwhelmed her preparations. Billions of people, she said quietly to Medic Sergeant Park Tae-young, all dead, all consumed. How do you fight something that can do this? Before Park could answer, alarms sounded throughout the fleet. A damaged ship had been detected drifting in space, and it was still broadcasting Alliance identification codes. Captain Cho's boarding team reached the alien vessel first. The ship was beautiful even in its damaged state, grown rather than built, with curves and patterns that looked more like artwork than military hardware. But plasma burns scarred its organic hull, and half the vessel had been torn away. Life. Signs detected, reported the boarding team. Weak, but there are survivors. The rescue operation required special equipment. The alien ship's atmosphere was toxic to humans, and the surviving aliens couldn't breathe human air. Dr. Han worked quickly to establish a safe meeting point. The first alien they met was unlike anything humans had encountered. Standing nearly 8 feet tall but weighing less than a human child, the being resembled a walking tree with silver bark and glowing blue leaves. When it spoke, the words came out like wind through branches. You are the Deathworlders, it said through the translation device. Its voice carried notes of fear and desperate hope. You came. We did not believe. We thought it was myth. Captain Cho stepped forward slowly, trying not to frighten the creature further. I am Captain Cho Woo-jin of the Terran Defense Fleet. What is your name? I am called Gentle Wind Through Flowers of the Silrani people. The alien's leaves rustled with emotion. You are smaller than the stories said. Stories. Tales of the apex predators from the impossible world. Warriors who drink poison and breathe fire. Monsters who kill without thought. The alien paused. But you saved us. Monsters do not save. Dr. Han Yuri worked with her medical team to treat the injured aliens. There were 47 survivors from 5 different species, all suffering from trauma that went beyond physical wounds. They're in shock, she reported to Admiral Kim, not just from their injuries, but from witnessing the destruction of their homeworlds. Some of them haven't spoken since the attack. One of the Aquari survivors, a dolphin-like being with 6 arms and soft blue skin, had been floating in a specially prepared water tank. When it finally spoke, its words chilled everyone who heard them. "The Devourers are not like us," it said through bubbles in the water. "Not like you either. They think as one mind, move as one body. They feel no pain, know no fear, want nothing but consumption." Major Kang Dong-soo questioned the survivors carefully, gathering intelligence about the enemy. What he learned changed everything the humans thought they knew about warfare. "They don't use tactics in any sense we understand," he reported to the command staff. "No formations, no strategy, no retreat. They just swarm toward anything living and consume it." "What about their technology?" Engineer Nam asked. "Biomechanical. They grow their ships and weapons instead of building them. But here's the strange part. They seem to adapt to whatever they encounter. The survivors say the Devourers learned from each battle, becoming more effective against Alliance defenses. Captain Cho spent hours talking with Gentle Wind Through Flowers, learning about Alliance culture and the scope of the catastrophe. The aliens' description painted a picture of civilizations completely unprepared for war. "We had no weapons," the Silrani explained. "Why would we? We settled our differences with debate and art. Our greatest achievement was a song poem that took 3 centuries to compose. But you had defenses, didn't you? Ship shields? Planetary barriers?" "Yes, but not for war. Our shields protected against space debris and solar radiation. They lasted perhaps minutes against Devourer weapons. The alien showed Cho images stored in its memory nodes, biological computers that recorded everything the Silrani experienced. The humans watched in horror as beautiful garden worlds were stripped bare in a matter of hours. This is how they attack," Gentle Wind Through Flowers explained. The images showed Devourer ships that looked like massive insects made of metal and flesh. They landed on planets and released millions of smaller creatures that consumed everything in their path. "Where do they come from?" Dr. Choi asked. "Beyond the galactic edge. They arrived without warning, bringing only hunger and death." The aliens' leaves dimmed with sadness. "We tried to communicate with them, to understand what they wanted. They do not communicate. They only consume." Medic Sergeant Park Tae-young worked with a group of young Alliance beings who had survived by hiding in deep underground shelters. Their stories revealed the true horror of the Devourer attacks. "They came at night," whispered a small creature that looked like a walking flower. "The grown-ups told us to hide and be quiet. We heard terrible sounds above us. When we came out, everything was gone. The trees, the grass, even the bugs, all gone." The psychological trauma extended beyond the survivors. The aliens who met, humans for the first time, were terrified of their rescuers. Dr. Han had to work carefully to keep them calm. "To them, we're as alien as the Devourers," she explained to her medical staff. "We're bipedal predators from a world they consider uninhabitable. Our normal body temperature would kill most of them. Our blood chemistry is toxic to their systems." But slowly, trust began to build. The Alliance survivors realized that these Deathworlders had traveled across the galaxy to help them. Captain Cho established communication protocols that let the different species coordinate their information. "The remaining Alliance fleet is making its last stand at Kepler 442, Gentle Wind Through Flowers reported. 17 million survivors from all our worlds. It is all that remains of our civilization." "And the Devourers?" Admiral Kim asked. "Following them. The hunger follows wherever life gathers. In 6 days, maybe 7, they will arrive at our final refuge." Admiral Kim studied the tactical situation. The Alliance survivors had provided detailed information about Devourer capabilities, but it only confirmed how dangerous the enemy was. "They adapt to whatever they encounter," he said during the final planning session. "That means we get one chance to surprise them. After that, they'll know our capabilities and adjust accordingly." "What's our advantage?" Captain Yoon asked. "They've never fought humans before," Major Kang pointed out. "Everything they've learned comes from fighting peaceful species. They have no experience with real military tactics. Engineer Nam had been analyzing Devourer technology from the survivors' descriptions. Their biomechanical ships are strong, but they have a weakness. They're living tissue combined with metal. Extreme heat or cold should damage them more than it would conventional ships, and their hive mind nature might work against them, Dr. Choi added. If we can disrupt their communication somehow, they might lose coordination. Admiral Kim made his decision. We proceed to Kepler 442. Full speed, maximum stealth. We'll arrive before the Devourers and set up our defense. As the human fleet prepared to move deeper into Alliance space, Gentle Wind Through Flowers approached. Captain Cho, one final time. Why? The alien asked. Why did you come? We are nothing to you. Our worlds are far from yours. You gain nothing by saving us. Cho thought for a moment before answering. Because it's the right thing to do. The human fleet reached Kepler 442 2 days before the Devourers arrived. What they found there was the remnant of an entire galactic civilization. 17 million Alliance survivors crowded onto 3 planets and dozens of space stations, defended by ships that looked more like art pieces than weapons of war. Admiral Kim Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of Terra's Wrath, watching Alliance vessels flee in terror as the human fleet approached. To the peaceful aliens, the angular, weapon-covered human ships looked like instruments of destruction. Sir, we're receiving panicked transmissions from the Alliance fleet, Communications Officer Park Tae-young reported. They think we might be more Devourers. Open a channel to their command ship, Admiral Kim ordered. Use the translation protocols Dr. Choi developed. The main screen showed a council chamber filled with representatives from all 17 Alliance species. They looked at the human admiral with expressions ranging from hope to terror. I am Admiral Kim Hyun-woo of the Terran Defense Fleet, he said clearly. We received your distress call. We're here to help. An elderly Silrani stepped forward, its silver bark scarred and its leaves dim with exhaustion. I am High Counselor, Ancient Roots Deep Wisdom. We did not believe anyone would answer our call. The Deathworlders came, whispered another, alien, a crystalline being whose body chimed like bells when it moved. The legends were true. Admiral Kim could see the fear in their alien faces. To them, humans were monsters from nightmare stories. But they were desperate monsters, and desperation had brought them together. Counselor, we need to coordinate our fleets, Kim said. The Devourers will be here soon. Coordinate? The Silranis. Leaves rustled in confusion. But you are warriors, and we do not know how to fight. Then stay out of our way and let us do what we do best. 2 days of frantic preparation followed. Engineer Nam Soo-jin worked with Alliance technicians to understand their ship designs, looking for ways to retrofit them with human weapons. What she found amazed her. Their ships are incredible, she reported to Admiral Kim. Faster than ours, more efficient, and they can repair themselves, but they have absolutely no armor or weapons. Can we fix that? I can install basic shield, generators, and some light weapons, but it won't make much difference in a real battle. Nam paused. Sir, their ships are works of art. It feels wrong to turn them into weapons of war. The Devourers won't appreciate their beauty, Kim replied grimly. Major Kang Dong-soo established defensive positions throughout the system. His special forces set up weapons platforms on asteroids and rigged space mines along the most likely approach routes. But the scale of what they faced worried him. Sir, according to Alliance intelligence, we're looking at a Devourer force of over 10,000 bioships, he reported. We have less than 200 vessels total, counting the Alliance fleet. What about ground defenses? The Alliance worlds have no military installations, no bunkers, no weapon emplacements, nothing. If the Devourers reach the surface, the civilians will be completely exposed. Dr. Han Yuri worked with Alliance medical personnel to set up treatment centers for the coming battle. The cultural differences made everything complicated. Their doctors have never treated combat injuries. she explained to Medic Sergeant Park Tae-young. They don't understand triage, battlefield surgery, or combat trauma. To them, the idea of choosing who to save first is morally impossible. What about treating our wounded? That's even worse. Human blood is toxic to most Alliance species. Our normal body heat could kill their doctors. We'll have to handle our own casualties. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Ryu Hyejin led reconnaissance, flights to the system's edge, watching for the first signs of the Devourer fleet. What her sensors detected made her report back immediately. Fleet Command, this is Red Leader. I'm detecting massive energy signatures approaching from Galactic North. Estimated arrival time, 6 hours. Numbers? Admiral Kim asked. Sir, there are so many ships that my computer can't count them all. The formation stretches across half a light year. The Battle of Kepler 442 began when Devourer scout ships entered the system. Captain Yoon Ji-hai's fast attack squadrons met them at the outer planets, engaging in humanity's first combat with the enemy. Contact, Yoon reported, engaging 3 Devourer bioships. The human ships opened fire with plasma cannons and kinetic missiles. The Devourer vessels were unlike anything they had trained for, living ships that writhed and twisted through space, their hulls healing damage even as they took more hits. These things are tough, Pilot Lee Gunwoo reported from his fighter. Direct plasma hit and it's still moving. Concentrate fire on the same target, Yoon ordered. Don't let them heal. The tactic worked. Focused fire from multiple human ships overwhelmed the Devourer's healing ability. The bioship convulsed once and went dark, drifting lifeless through space. First kill confirmed, Gunwoo announced. But sir, it took everything we had to drop just one of them. The main Devourer fleet arrived like a living nightmare. Thousands of bioships of every size, from fighter-sized creatures to massive behemoths, larger than human battleships. They moved together with perfect coordination, no communication needed between them. Admiral Kim had positioned his fleet in a defensive formation around the Alliance worlds. The humans would hold the line while the Alliance ships evacuated civilians to the safest planets. All ships, this is Fleet Command, Kim announced. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. 17 million innocent beings are counting on us. Make every shot count. The Devourers attacked without warning or strategy, simply swarming toward anything that registered as alive on their sensors. The first wave hit Captain Yoon's fast attack ships with overwhelming force. They're not using tactics, Yoon reported as her ships fell back under heavy fire. Just pure aggression. But there are so many of them. Admiral Shin's heavy ships opened fire with their main batteries, sending streams of plasma and kinetic. Rounds into the Devourer formation, the weapons carved paths of destruction through the bioships, but more kept coming. Sir, they're learning, Engineer Nam reported from her analysis station. The ones behind are adapting to our weapons. They're growing thicker armor where we're hitting them. Then we change our tactics, Admiral Kim decided. All ships, switch to rotational fire patterns. Don't let them adapt to any single weapon type. The space battle raged for hours. Human ships darted through the Devourer swarm, using their superior speed and tactics to avoid being overwhelmed. But the enemy's numbers seemed endless. Colonel Bae In-soo's Marines found themselves fighting a different kind of battle. Devourer assault pods broke through the human lines and landed on Alliance worlds. The Marines had to follow them down and fight in an environment they had never trained for. This is insane, Sergeant Kim Da-sam reported from the surface of the main Alliance world. The gravity here is so light I keep jumping too high, and these trees are trying to help us fight. The Alliance vegetation had some defensive capabilities, roots that could trap enemies and branches that could block attacks. But they were as vulnerable to the Devourers as any other organic matter. Focus on the small ones, Colonel Bae ordered. Don't let them reach the civilian shelters. The Devourer ground forces were nightmare creatures, part insect, part machine, all hunger. They moved with single-minded purpose toward any source of organic matter, but they had never faced human infantry tactics. "Grenades out, Captain Nall," Jun Seo called. His heavy weapons team had set up a defensive line in front of a shelter containing 10,000 Alliance civilians. The explosions tore through the Devourer swarm, but more kept coming. "Sir, they're not stopping." Sergeant Kim Dasam fired her rifle continuously, dropping the smaller creatures but barely slowing the larger ones. "How do we fight something that doesn't feel pain?" "The same way we always have," Bay replied over the radio. "We hit them harder than they hit us." The turning point came when Dr. Choi made a crucial discovery. While analyzing Devourer communication patterns, he found their weakness. "Admiral, I think I know how to disrupt their hive mind," he reported excitedly. "They communicate through bioelectric fields. If we can generate the right frequency interference—" "Do it," Admiral Kim ordered. Engineer Nam worked frantically. To modify the fleet's communication arrays. Instead of transmitting messages, they would broadcast pure static on the Devourer bioelectric frequency. "Interference array ready," she reported. "But, sir, this will also disrupt our own communications." "Better than being eaten," Kim replied. "All ships activate interference on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." The effect was immediate and devastating. Throughout the Devourer fleet, bioships began moving erratically. Their perfect coordination shattered as the hive-mind connection broke down. "It's working," Captain Yoon announced. "They're attacking each other." Without their hive mind to guide them, individual Devourer creatures reverted to basic instincts. They attacked the nearest source of organic matter, which often meant other Devourers. But the interference couldn't last forever. The Devourers began adapting again, developing resistance to the human jamming. Admiral Kim realized they had minutes, not hours, to win the battle. "All ships, concentrate fire on the largest bioship," he ordered. "That has to be their command node."